Well, good afternoon, friends. If you want to take your seats, we will get started very soon. All right, well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the 10th Anniversary Legends Row Induction Ceremony. It's been 10 years we've been honoring and celebrating some of Mississauga's legends. And, a number of you have been with us for the past 10 years, and some of you are joining us this year. So thank you and a huge, huge welcome. I see there are some empty seats in the front here, and that is to welcome some very special people. So you're all very special, but please welcome our parade of special guests for today's ceremony. Thank you very much, Piper Allen Comley, for leading our wonderful special guests. Thank you very much. And before we begin, I would like to acknowledge that we are gathered on the treaty lands and the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit. We recognize and acknowledge the importance of recognizing the Indigenous peoples of this land that took care of it for thousands of years before anybody stepped foot here. In particular, we acknowledge the territory of the Anishinaabe, the Huron-Wendat, the Haudenosaunee, and the Ojibwa Chippewa peoples, the land that is home to the Métis, and most recently the territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nations and direct descendants of the Mississaugas of the Credit, Chi-Miigwech. Now, as you sat down, I'm going to ask you to stand, and our incredible, one of our very own, and she is an award winner, Patty Janetta Baker, is going to lead us in the singing of the national anthem of our beautiful country.
Oh, oh Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. And wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God, keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Patty. Please take your seats, folks. Thank you very much, Patty, and to all those who sang along. You know, we always got to sing for our country, right? We've got to be there. We stand on guard for thee. And whether you have a great voice like Patty or you have a voice like mine, it doesn't matter. You just got to sing it with passion and with heart. And speaking of passion and heart, I want to acknowledge the wonderful violin music today is courtesy of Vera Majewski. Where's Vera? Vera is a classically trained artist who attained her Bachelor of Performance degree from the University of Toronto and has performed with various orchestras across Canada and the United States. She's also performed internationally in Germany, Austria, and Vienna, and in the Great Hall right here in the city of Mississauga, right for us. Vera is also the outreach educator at Metalworks Institute right here in Mississauga, proudly owned by our very own Gil Moore, who was also Metalworks, one of the inductees a few years ago of the Legends Row. Love Gil Moore for all that he does. And Vera, thank you for doing what you did today as well. I got to acknowledge 3 volunteers. I don't see them, but I think, you know, as we honor and celebrate legends that have made their mark, that have put Mississauga on the map, so to speak, you know, these 3 young people are potential future legends, and they're here today, and I just want to acknowledge our volunteers, Laura Hages, Matthew Hages, and Angelica Francesca. There they are, right there. Look at them. Look at them. There they are, yeah. You know, I asked them, are you excited to be here? They said, yeah, Pinball Clemens is here. All right. It is now my great pleasure to invite on behalf of, to bring greetings on behalf of the city. She's absolutely terrific. She's been a part of our celebrations, I think, for a very, very long time, especially in the role that she has right now. The mayor of the great city and the great mayor, would you please welcome Mayor Bonnie Crombie.
So kind. When did you start? 2013? 2013. 2013. 10 years ago. 10 years ago. 10th anniversary. Well, I've been mayor, well, 8 going on 9 years. So yeah, I've been to all but one, I think, as mayor. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Great Hall in beautiful Mississauga. I'm so happy to welcome you here as we mark the induction of quite a few very deserving individuals. And before I get into that, let me just acknowledge a few other deserving individuals that joined me today, part of my team. Let's start federal, go down to my team. The newest member of parliament, Charles Sousa, is here. Charles, sitting with the Tobies. Also federal, our MP, husband of, Peter Fonseca, member of Mississauga East Cooksville. I saw MPP Sharif Sabawe in the house. Sharif, are you with us? There he is. And my own team, outstanding attendance today. Boy, they are really keen this year, this team. From Ward 1, a very special friend is being inducted. Stephen Dasco is here. And from Ward 2, our newly elected councillor, Alvin Tedjo. Alvin. And the very incredible councillor from Ward 3, Chris Fonseca. I know I saw the councillor for Ward 4, who was the local boy in downtown Mississauga, John Kovac. One of our very newly elected councillor, replacing retired councillor Pat Sato from Ward 9. Welcome, Martin Reed. And no stranger to anyone, former politician federally, also from the Board of Trade, and the newly elected councillor from Ward 11, Brad Butt. Very good, very good. Well, let me say this is a very unique day because for the very first time, we have an entire organization being inducted to Mississauga's Legends Row. And this is a first, and we're all very excited about it. And on behalf of the city of Mississauga, I want to congratulate all the incredibly accomplished people who we are paying tribute to here today. This is the highest honor that our city can give. And I hope that the inductees and their friends and their families and their loved ones and all of our residents can all take pride in their accomplishments. Also, a very big thank you to a very incredible, another outstanding individual he is really the genesis of this idea. And he came and he said, I have an idea. And we said, that is outstanding. You go with this. And thank him for his ongoing efforts. And that's none other than Ron Duquette. Obviously, all at the back of the room, making sure everything's running smoothly. That's his way. And to his board of directors. Let's see them. If you're a board of director of Legends Row, please stand and be acknowledged. There we go. They're all here. Let's see the board of directors. And the Legends Row's community partners for their commitment as well to honoring Mississauga's most inspiring individuals. And boy, do we have some today. Today's inductees have made positive, important, and lasting contributions, not only in Mississauga, but right across the country and beyond, as leaders in their field and as inspirations to the next generation. Today, we honor three-time Grey Cup champion, two-time All-Star, and the current general manager of the Toronto Argonauts, Pinball Clemens. He's so incredible. Congratulations on this year's championship, by the way. Fantastic news. And someone very near and dear to us all here at City Hall, a personal friend of mine, former colleague, the very beloved former Mississauga City Councillor, the late Jim Tovey, today being represented by his wife, Lee Tovey. Lee, give us a wave, please. And very fitting this year, I think. This is incredible, Ron. What a great idea you had. Our entire healthcare system, which we know needs a lot of help, but these people, each and every day in their roles, go above and beyond. And they are the ones who helped Mississauga get through the COVID pandemic, and they continue to work so hard to keep us healthy. And that is our hospital right here, three of them, in fact, led by Carly Farrow and her team, Trillium Health Partners. I am so excited, but also so inspired by this year's inductees. And now, let's get on with the show. Jake?
Thanks very much, Madam Mayor. Mayor spoke about the founder and the visionary behind this incredible celebration and this event, he came to a bunch of us and said, "I've got this idea, this vision," and he's been a great Mississaugan for years and years and years. He's been blessed that he's been able to sustain his wonderful business here in Mississauga. But along with that, he's given back. He's given back to the region. He's given back to the city in so many ways. And this is one of those ways. And it is a great honor. I'm blessed to call him my friend. Would you please welcome the founder of Legends Row, Mr. Ron Duquette.
Thank you, Jake. You're very kind. Wow, 10 years. I can't believe it. I mean, how the years have flown by, and we're extremely excited about the progress we've made in such a short period of time. I hope, if you haven't already, that you'll get an opportunity to go out to Legends Row, which is just outside the door here, and see what we've done. We're very, very proud of it, and also obviously very proud to bring in the three people, or two people in one organization today. I'd like to tell you a little story about how this all started. My wife and I were in Washington, D.C., looking at all the great sites that they have down there, and we, just off the White House, we came across this quite unusual walk of fame. It was in the sidewalk, but the plaques were really, really fantastic. And on the way home on the airplane, I got this sort of aha moment. And I thought, Mississauga, I think at the time we were, 800,000 people or something. We need to have our own Legends Row, or our own walk of fame, if you will. So as Jake, I think I've got a clicker here. Yeah. Make sure this works. Oh, wait. There we go. Okay, you can go to the next slide. I'm an old AV production guy, and I emphasize the word old. Anyway, so I came home and I brought together a dozen or so of my dear friends and colleagues throughout Mississauga, business leaders, activists, people who really knew what was going on in this city, and I put the proposal to them. I said, let's see what we can do, and they all bought in. They were very excited about it, and we had formed our very first board of directors. So we kind of polished off the proposal, and we presented it to council. They got very excited, as Bonnie mentioned, and we then started working with staff to try and figure out what it would look like, where it would go, and of course, as we know, it's all come to pass. So collectively, we conceptualized what it would look like. We presented our plans, as I mentioned. Our goal was to celebrate the legacy of our city's unique citizens, helping us enrich community pride and community spirit. That was really the objective. And these are special people who have helped make us the great city that we are. Secondly, we wanted to recognize the pioneers who created the 11 small communities that made up the city of Mississauga at its amalgamation in 1974. These were the pioneers who influenced our early growth and development, people like Timothy Street, Warren Clarkson, Jacob Cook, and so many others. So that was a real key part of what we wanted to present. Thirdly, we wanted to inspire the youth of today, hoping that the stories of our inductees would plant the seed for future generations for them to seek greatness themselves. And then finally, we wanted to inform the thousands of new Canadians from many countries around the world who have chosen Mississauga as their new home and let them know what our unique history was all about. Where they come from, as you know, we have many diverse festivals and events here on Celebration Square, and the folks from all these diverse communities come every summer. I'm told that, and Bonnie, this might be right, we receive somewhere close to 1 million or over 1 million people on Celebration Square every year. So if you haven't been here during the summer, you can visualize what that's all about. I'd like to, now I don't know if they're here. Is Ted Wallish in here? No, he's not. Okay. Well, we invited some of our original team to join us, but I guess they couldn't come. But two that I think were mentioned, Diane Kalinchuk, Diane Stand, and Jake Deere. These were two of the original founding board of directors. Well, I think I'm going backwards. Oh, the green button. I retired about 8 years ago, so this stuff is all new to me. Sadly, we lost our colleague and dear friend Doug Fowles this past summer, and we miss him greatly. He was one of the originals. Through those years, Doug was our treasurer, and he firmly believed in this project right from day one. We also, this past summer, we lost two wonderful members of our alumni. Wilson McTavish, who many of you might know was really the vision behind the Living Arts Center and really got that project off the ground. And Rumpin' Ronnie Hawkins, what a character he was. We inducted him just last year, and I must say, when he was here, he wasn't looking all that good, but unfortunately he passed this past summer. But Legends Row, the plaques on Legends Row, will keep their memory alive and continue to illustrate their contribution to our city. Okay, I think I'm supposed to. Okay, so our very first induction ceremony was held out on the square with about 500 people cheering on our first 10 inductees. It was a wonderful sunny July afternoon and the perfect launch for the project. For the next 2 years, we moved it inside here into the Great Hall. And then we decided to introduce the event to a broader audience, and we moved the ceremony to the Erin Mills Town Center. I thought that was my phone. It is my phone. Excuse me.
I'd like to order pizza, please.
So we moved it into the Erin Mills Town Center, and Legends Row, at that point, was still a virtual walk of fame until a fundraising campaign was launched, and that coupled with a significant contribution from the Hazel McCallion Foundation for the Arts, Culture, and Heritage provided the capital needed to create the infrastructure that was to become our home. And what a celebration that was. All of the inductees to that point and their families attended, showcasing their stories throughout the walk for future generations to experience. The Great Hall is now our permanent home where we, at least for the foreseeable future, where ceremonies like this will take place every year. In 2020, Legends Row got married. We merged our organization, there wasn't a divorce either. We merged our organization with Heritage Mississauga, and they were a perfect partner to take us into the future. And what a wonderful marriage that's been. The original board was disbanded, and a new 5-person management team was created to deal with the ongoing day-to-day operations of Legends Row, and I think you've met all of them. Incidentally, COVID caused a brief delay in the induction process, and that is why today we are recognizing the class of 2021. And we plan to have another event later this year, which will have us all caught up, and more to come on that event in the months ahead. We have a few members of the Legends Row fraternity here today, and I would like to introduce them and have them stand. Unfortunately, one of them is on his way. But from the class of 2014, the very lovely Lori Pallett. Lori, stand up. Way at the back. And from the class of 2015, Mr. Chuck Ely, who is in his...
Oh, that was him on the phone.
Oh,
he's on his way.
He's on his way. Cancel the pizza. Chuck is on his way. Anyway, Chuck, you'll get to meet him a little later. From the class of 2019, representing their daughter, Stella Ume, who lives in Australia now, we have Patsy and David Ume. Patsy and David, please stand up. Okay, so here we are. A total of 50 people have been inducted prior to today's ceremony, and it is interesting to note that after today, we will have a total of 12,052 members of the Legends Row fraternity, thanks to the wonderful employees of Trillium Health Partners. How's that for growth? And I want to point out that this is the very first time that we've inducted an organization, and boy, what a worthy organization they are. I guess slide. Well, maybe that's it, I don't know. Incidentally, there are another very important group of people who perform a vital role in our operation, and they are called the Community Advisory Circle. Now, I should explain how this works. All of us on the management team don't actually get to vote for our inductees. We do the dirty work, and then we have a group of, I think it's about 12 members of the community from various facets of the community. You've got health, you've got art, you've got sports. So we've found a group of people who really represent Mississauga, and they are charged every year with looking at the inductees of that time and making the decision, and they are the ones that actually make the official selection. I'd like to introduce, there's a couple of them here. I'd like to introduce them. Mike Douglas, Executive Director of the Mississauga Arts Council. Catherine Holland, Executive Director of the Sports Council. Catherine's here. Is Shalou Baines here? Shalou, I didn't see him. Oh, Shalou's here. Great. Thank you. Jamie Gaspar, Executive Director of Heritage Mississauga. And he might be here, I haven't seen him. Sean Robertson Palmer from the city. Oh, there's Sean. There he is. Great. So this is where the rubber hits the road. You know, we give them all these documents, and they study them, and they talk amongst themselves, obviously, and they make the decision. Incidentally, everyone who lives in Mississauga is invited to nominate at any time throughout the year. All you have to do is go to our website, legendsrow.ca, and if you think that you know somebody or an organization who is worthy of becoming a member of Legends Row, go to our website, log in, do what you have to do. It's not that onerous, and they will be considered. So please do. Okay, so thanks for listening to our story. Jake, I think, oh, and we've got one other little change today. We're going to switch Pinball's induction to the third one because his introducer is on his way. And his daughters aren't here yet. We're waiting for them as well. Anyway, thanks for listening. Jake, I think we've got some inducting to do, so I'll turn the proceedings back over to you. Cheers, everyone.
By the way, I made a quick call to India as well while I was using your phone. My aunt's doing really well, thank you. Also want to acknowledge Carolyn King. I know we forgot to mention. Carolyn, thank you very much. Thank you. Carolyn's also one of our members who's one of the decision makers with the Legends Row, so thank you. Okay, by the way, Ron is so humble, he's enjoying retirement, as you can tell. You should ask him sometime. He was the man that named the mall next to us. I don't know if you know that, but that's him. That was his idea. Long story, but you can ask him sometime. At this point, and it's a wonderful story actually, but when you look at the history of our wonderful folks that make up the 6th largest city in Canada, it's wonderful legends like we have here, wonderful community leaders, elected officials, and wonderful volunteers that do such great work. So there you go. All right, I'd like to, let's get the induction ceremony started, starting with welcoming our newly elected Member of Parliament for Mississauga Lakeshore. Would you please welcome a very, very familiar face to all of us in Mississauga. Love this man, Mr. Charles Souza.
Jake. I'm always afraid to be behind Jake Deere. He's never very dear to me, but thank you for being so kind. Congratulations, Pinball. It's great to see you honored yet again on your outstanding career and contribution to our community. And great congratulations to Trillium Health Partners. I am so proud of all you and your team do for our community and for our lives specifically. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my great honor to stand before you today to pay tribute to the life and legacy of my dear friend, Jim Tovey. Jim was a remarkable visionary and a true champion to our community. He dedicated his life to creating a better and more sustainable future for all of us. He was a strong advocate for the environment, and with his passion for preserving and protecting our waterfront, as is evidenced by everything he did. So let me begin by quoting Jim, where he said, "It is our duty and responsibility to do the right thing for future generations." One of his most notable achievements was, of course, being the inspiration in what is known as Lakeview Inspiration, the redevelopment and the revitalization of our waterfront. But he was much more. He was also a tireless advocate for the arts. He was instrumental in the Music Walk of Fame in Port Credit. He was an exceptional fountain of creativity, someone once said. Jim actually began his career as a musician, a writer, a poet, and an artist. I recall us going to the local watering hole and grabbing a beer to get to know one another better. And he sported this trademark ponytail down to his waist. And as the band struck up a tune, he meandered up to the stage, shook his head, let down his long hair, and did his best Mick Jagger's chicken dance and belted out a "can't get no satisfaction" like no other. And I laughed. And I developed a greater appreciation for his multifaceted, eclectic way of living life. And he lived life with passion and desire. He was a carpenter at the time. He would see form beyond what it is today, and he saw its full potential for tomorrow. He didn't wear blinders that often comes with conformity. He was a builder of homes and of dreams. Now, some were threatened by his manner. I was intrigued by his boldness. He was unorthodox. He was refreshing. He didn't care about protocol or people's biases and egos. He cared about the community. Some would caution him and say, "You can't do that way. It takes time. It takes proper procedures." That didn't sit well with him. He kept forcing people to see it differently. And this is precisely why Jim Tovey is a legend. He was unique. I remember he didn't get bothered by the naysayers and the beast of delay mired in the system. He would challenge the status quo and look beyond the norm. I recall first meeting Jim in 2006, I believe it was, when the Four Sisters was being torn down. He was the president of Lakeview Ratepayers at the time, and he was very wary of the big corporate machine and the political system and the powers that be. They all seemed to be working against the resident group. You see, we were destined to host another power plant in that very place. In June of 2005, Jim Tovey and Professor John Danahy sat at the kitchen table and started to discuss how the OPG lands and the waterfront could be something more other than a dirty industrial land. And there a vision was formed, a form of a new Lakeview village into an innovative model for sustainable community. And it was a shared vision by the community and its citizens to make this a jewel destination for future generations. Now, I walked down Ogden Avenue as a kid, going to school every day. And that was during the height, at the peak of emissions from the stacks at full throttle. Always wondering how great it would be to actually have a view of the lake at Lakeview and to get to play on the beach. These guys were inspiring. Like many of us, I was encouraged, and I took the Lakeview ratepayers' economic and vision to the cabinet. I think Peter Fonseca was there at the time as an Ontario member and now a colleague in the federal parliament. But there were steps that needed to be taken. I invited Jim and the others to help prepare a strategy to get the council of the day to support rezoning of those lands and put me on notice not to build another power plant. It was needed. That petition was needed to help fight my own government at the time. Yeah, and they saw the merits of getting away from dirty coal, but they didn't quite understand the merits of protecting the waterfront from yet more industry. So convinced then by the community's plan, yeah, we ultimately celebrated the release of these lands from 120 years of pollution and put the lake back in Lakeview. The Lakeview Legacy Project became the first citizens-driven master plan, winning 2 national awards for planning in 2009. But Jim also celebrated Lakeview's past. He acknowledged the history of the Four Sisters being a powerhouse of economic engine in the 50s. And he recognized the military past, the women who worked in the armory. The beauty of Jim was that he didn't just complain, he offered solutions. He offered alternatives. He offered greater economic benefit, environment benefit for the region. So, Jim then became even more inspired, in this case, by the political process to initiate change. What better way to change a system than being elected into the system itself? So he took another bold step in his career. He understood that first impressions mattered, so he tossed away his jeans, his computer utility belt, or his carpenter utility belt. He chopped off his trademark ponytail, replaced his toolbox with an iPad, and started campaigning door to door, all dressed up in a suit and tie. Who is this new Jim Tovey? He's all clean cut, but he never conformed. He still bucked the system. Ultimately, all levels of government took notice, and including the lieutenant governor. Our community's urban plan got attention around the world, recognizing the importance of redevelopment that was beyond our shores. You see, Jim didn't just stop at Mississauga's waterfront, he was dedicated to protecting the Great Lakes. Leading the Lakeview Waterfront Connection Project wasn't only about improving our local environment, he fostered greater awareness of the entire Great Lakes region and ecosystem. He saw the potential for action and refused to let barriers stand in the way of making a lasting difference. Folks, Jim would want us to remember that this revitalization wasn't just the stacks or the pier. It was all of Lakeview's 400 acres of prime real estate. It was all of Mississauga's waterfront. It was meant for the benefit of everyone across the region and across generations. The Jim Tovey lands, the streams, the learning centers, the arms building was only a start. He was fighting to protect all those lands. I took care in my friend's vision to ensure that a large portion of the former provincial lands were given to the city to safeguard 67 acres of public access. It was about conserving those lands now known in some part as the Jim Tovey Conservation. Believe me, he would want us to go further and protect the rest of the village corridor as well. Jim's legacy indeed lives on through his many other projects. Those efforts have touched countless lives in positive ways. Lee, we are all saddened by Jim's sudden loss and early passing. It was tragic because there was so much more to be done. It was a shock to the community. He was a staunch advocate for change. Jim Tovey transformed, and those islands that he I remember him coming to say, I want to get all the earth that we're digging out of the lands and throw it into the water and build islands, which are now, I can refer to as the Tovey Islands, that's transformed those sections of the shores into a beautiful, naturalized conservation area, a hot spot for wildlife migration, and an oasis right here in the heart of our city. And as the counselor for the #1 ward, or Ward Wonderful, as you would often say, and I believe, Steve, you'll say the same thing on occasion, he stressed the connection of individuals, communities, and jurisdictions, enhancing life that we now have. By highlighting Mississauga's extensive planning to everyone, he helped set the precedent for other cities to emulate greater sustainability. His accomplishments, from changing lives to changing landscapes, will still stand as Jim's enduring legacy. So I'll end this tribute, again, by quoting my friend Jim Tovey. He said, "The most important work we can accomplish is to leave our community in a better place for our children." May the legend of Jim Tovey's vision live on for forevermore. Thank you, everyone.
My wife and I moved into the area in 1989, and she said, I think I'm seeing kids with learning disabilities. They were in the lower third of all the schools. That really concerned me, and that's when I started investigating the different types of toxins and their effect on our health and children's brains. Then I determined that we really needed to get this coal plant closed down. And in 2005, provincial government closed down the coal plant. No sooner had they closed down the coal plant when they decided that they would build a 1,000-megawatt gas plant to replace it. I thought that our community had already done their share. So I put together a group and started doing visioning sessions with the community. We asked them one question. If you can reverse 120 years of military, utility, and industrial pollution and create a model of sustainability for the world, what's it look like? Wow! Holy mackerel! So it really was the citizens that accomplished this, and I'm very proud of my community for standing up.
Throughout his own childhood, few could imagine Jim's future. Passion for life, boundless energy, and devotion to work ethic defined those early days in Malton. From newspaper boy to emerging rock star, the impression he left was unforgettable. Artist, poet, Renaissance man. The canvas closest to the heart was one of love. An eternal journey, traveled side by side with wife Lee. Together they would build a future as he moved music aside to build homes one by one. And then would inspire his community to elect him to council, where Jim would enable more building for the thousands who would be Mississauga's future.
It's currently the largest lake fill project that's going on in Canada. It's going to connect 9.5 kilometers of water's edge access and water's edge experience for the public. It's going to be an amazing place to be able to teach the next generation why it's so important to be sustainable. What's really exciting for me today in particular is to create the world's most environmentally sustainable community. And so we're building a 64-acre conservation area right smack at the epicenter of 6.2 million people in an urban setting. That's quite unique. But this is actually a small piece of a very, very large, an incredibly large project. And how do we make the world sustainable in 50 years? So we're going to be creating all kinds of new habitat for aquatic life. We've eliminated 93% of our wetlands. Wetlands are critical for cleaning the water that goes back into Lake Ontario and the Great Lakes, which is the water we drink and the water future generations will drink.
The Lake View is returning to Lakeview. As the vision reconnects people to the water, a new community will flourish with residences, businesses, arts, culture, and science.
Now we have this once-in-a-100-year opportunity to get all of that back for the public. We own it. We're the citizens.
Jim would want us all to keep the community's original vision alive.
We all have to work together on this.
Within him was deep wisdom that would inspire everyone.
You have to be proactive. You have to see what may affect your environment as far into the future as you can possibly see. So you have to be persistent in gaining the knowledge that you need. And the very last P is positive. So you never put forward a solution to a difficult issue unless it's a positive solution. It's a solution where nobody loses.
It's a new day on the shores of Lake Ontario and a new beginning for Mississauga, a city on the move. Welcome to Lakeview Village, a 177-acre master-planned mixed-use community at an incredible waterfront location. Imagine 64 acres of coastal wetlands, 4 large park networks, over 45 acres of green space, and 3.5 kilometers of new waterfront trail, bringing the Great Lakes Waterfront Trail back to the water. Lakefront Park will provide recreation for all seasons and ages. Kayaking, paddleboarding, a pebble beach, places to picnic and a boardwalk for your morning run or evening stroll. The Artscape Atelier will be a makerspace for creative placemaking, public art creation, and artistic visioning. Right next door to the hub is Lakeview Square, a central gathering place with local shops and restaurants, farmers markets, musical events, pop-ups, and festivals. Lakeview Village is a community for your weekend or workday. Walk or bike to work, grab your morning coffee, head to a patio. This is life by the lake. There is a brighter future at Lakeview Village. A connected waterfront, new transit options, housing for first-time homebuyers and seniors, jobs, and new businesses for the city of Mississauga. This will be the most transformative waterfront community in Canada, delivering economic prosperity to the city and beyond. Let's meet at the water. Let's get together at Lakeview Village.
Let's acknowledge Robert McCaskill for putting that video together. Congratulations, Robert. Thank you so much for doing so. I'd like to direct your attention to where the screen's going to be, and if I could ask Robert McCaskill, Professor John Danahy, Lee Tovey, and Councillor Steve to come up to the podium over there, and I think we want to take a picture first and do their actual presentation. Is that correct? And then I believe Lee wants to say a few words.
Guys, come in the front. Councillor Dasco, just right in the center, underneath, in front of the screen. Yep, perfect, right there, perfect. Thank you. Lee, can I invite you to please come up and say a few words? Yep. You can bring the award here. I can hold it if you'd like. We have a box for it, that's why.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Madam Mayor, Chairman Legends Row, Board of Directors Legends Row, Heritage Mississauga, City of Mississauga, distinguished guests, family, friends, and community. Jim's first home was in Victory Village in Malton. This community was built to house returning World War II veterans and their families. Jim's father, mother, and their 18-month-old son moved onto McNaughton Avenue in 1946. Jim was the third child of 6. He was born breech. He entered the world feet first. Mom Tovey would smile and say, "He is my brown-eyed boy who hit the ground running." When I fell in love with Jim, he was a poet, singer, and musician. He became a licensed carpenter and an architectural technologist. He felt a kinship with the songs of nature, wood, and water. Jim had a Sitka spruce tree shipped from BC. He spent over 500 hours turning it into our Anishinaabe design-based flatwater canoe. For 28 years, we made many interior canoe trips to Northern Ontario and Quebec. Jim truly realized and appreciated how important our connection to water and nature are. Jim called himself an advocate. He truly felt he was offering better plans than the ones he was opposing. Mayor Hazel McCallion deeply honored Jim. She asked him to represent Mississauga's waterfront at the Great Lakes St. Lawrence Mayor's Conferences. Jim's vision and passion pulled people together and energized them. For example, in 2012, Jim went to Ottawa to attend the AMO conference, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario. During the conference, he scheduled a meeting with the Minister of the Environment, Jim Bradley. Each meeting was only 15 minutes. Jim prepared a 5-minute presentation on the importance of maintaining our public access to our beautiful waterfront. This would allow 10 minutes for feedback. Minister Bradley was so excited and enthusiastic about Jim's vision, he asked his policy advisor if it would be possible to extend their meeting into lunchtime. His advisor looked at him and said, "Yes, please continue. My mother is one of Jim Tovey's biggest fans." Jim looked over and asked, "Who is your mother?" She replied, "Patty Janetta Baker." Positive energy just grew and filled the room. I have been requested to accept today's honor of inauguration on behalf of Jim. What would my rock of 42 years say or be feeling? First, it's absolutely about the theme of this year's recipients. All 3 are team players who are compelled forward by their care and passion for community. Secondly, throughout his life, Jim was a happy soul, and sometimes that would just blossom into glee. The fact that he is being inaugurated today means some of his visions are indeed becoming a reality. As Jim would say, how cool is that? Thirdly, he would say that absolutely none of this would have come to fruition on his own. Jim is extremely grateful for the support of so many community associations, organizations, clubs, conservation authorities, municipal, regional, provincial, and federal governments, the professor, John Danahy, and his dear brother from another mother, Robert McCaskill. On behalf of his team and his community, Jim would say, thank you.
He's a very special man, and I remember some of the conversations he and I used to have, and one of the things that he loved was Lee's ginger soup that he used to make, ginger and carrot soup. All right, next we have the one and only Mr. Pinball Clemens, but before we get you up here, sir, there are a few friends of yours from the times that you used to play that want to say hello.
Pump it up while your feet are stumping and the jam is pumping. Look ahead, the crowd is jumping. Pump it up a little more, get the party going on the dance floor. See, cause that's where the party's at, and you find out if you do that. A place to stay. Get your booty on the floor tonight. Make my day. A place to stay. Get your booty on the floor tonight. Make my day. 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 Yo, pump up the jam, pump it up while your feet are stumping and the jam is pumping. Look ahead, the crowd are jumping. Pump it up a little more, get the party going on the dance floor. See, cause that's where the party's at, and you find out if you do that. A place to stay. Get your booty on the floor tonight. Make my day. A place to stay. Get your booty on the floor tonight. Make my day. 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 Yo, pump up the jam, pump it up, pump it up. Yo, pump it, pump up the jam, pump it up, pump it up. Yo, pump it, pump up the jam, pump it up, pump it up. Yo, pump it, pump up the jam, pump it, pump it, pump it, pump it.
Touchdown! That was very special. You were smiling through and through. Special thanks to Renee Addis and Jeanette Guimon for organizing that. Thank you very much. All right, our next introducer played in the CFL for 7 years back in the 70s, quarterbacking the Hamilton Tiger Cats, Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and the Argos, throwing for 82 touchdowns. during his career. In 1972, he took the Ticats to a Grey Cup championship and was named the CFL's most outstanding rookie that same year. He himself is a Legends Row alumni, inducted in 2015, and a very, very popular, a little late, but popular guy here in Mississauga. Would you please welcome Mr. Chuck Ely?
Wow, wow. Okay. What am I doing here? You just had all the good. Wow, wow, wow. What an honor for me to be able to say just a few words. I mean, they call him Pinball. His real name is Michael. Nobody may ever hear that, but Pinball is there. And I kind of got the notion about where that name came from because he's bouncing off of this, that, and the other, running around. But I always remember a statement, and it goes to the man and the woman who said, it doesn't matter what size you are. Look at a man or a woman the way they are, and they only become worse. But if you look at what they could be, then they become what they should be. And what Pinball has done in his life is what he sees that he could do and how he could challenge. And the things that have happened over his career, and you all know his career, I'm going to talk about the man because I've known him from the times that he's come here to Canada, and there's a lot of people who make a difference in people's lives. But Pinball lives it with his family, with his community, with his team, and very much involved in helping others. And I appreciate that most of all about him. We could talk about all the numbers and all the accolades that leads him to where he is. But the biggest thing is his heart. And his heart as he begins to work with other people within the community. He spent a lot of time with my son-in-law and my family and other families within the community to make it worthwhile as far as giving back to the community. So whenever I think about Pinball, I almost come to tears because he really does emphasize the importance of community and youth in helping others. And I think that's the most important thing if you're a legend of any kind, is what you do for others, and is what he does. And I am so thankful, and I'm so blessed to know the man and appreciate what he has done, not only through my life, but my family and those around. So with that, I'm going to ask now for the video on Michael Clemens.
Clemens moves up, takes the ball within an area where there are players, but it isn't going to matter because he's gone. Josh Miller may have pulled the leg as he moved up to try and make the tackle.
Few people exemplify the qualities of personal excellence, teamwork, community leadership, and overcoming the odds better than CFL legend Michael Pinball Clemens. He was nicknamed Pinball because of his running style. His diminutive size and extraordinary balance allowed him to bounce between defensive players, drawing comparisons to a pinball machine. Born and raised in Dunedin, Florida, the William and Mary economics graduate played running back and return specialist on the football team, as well as playing varsity soccer for a year. In his four-year college football career, he compiled 4,778 all-purpose yards and was named a Division I AA All-American. Clemens began his career in the CFL in 1989 after a brief stint in the National Football League with Kansas City and Tampa Bay. In 1990, he received the CFL's Most Outstanding Player Award after setting a single-season record for all-purpose yards at 3,300.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner is Michael Clemens.
As a player, Clemens compiled a brilliant CFL career with the Toronto Argonauts, a three-time Grey Cup champion with 12 all-time team records to his credit. He also set pro football records for most combined yards of 25,396. On September 15, 2000, Pinball hung up his Argos jersey after 12 seasons to take the reins as head coach, where he then won another Grey Cup in 2004. He subsequently won 3 more Grey Cups in 2012, 2017, and 2022 as vice chairman and then general manager of the Toronto Argonauts. His number 31 jersey is one of only 4 that have been retired by the Argos. After retiring from the football field, Michael founded the Pinball Clemens Foundation, providing marginalized youth with educational resources and options to integrate into the mainstream of society. Since its founding in 2007, the Port Credit-based foundation has been responsible for the construction of a hospital in Uganda, over 200 schools in developing countries, 2 orphanages in Haiti, and locally awarded more than 200 scholarships. In 2021, Michael, along with his wife Diane Lee, was awarded the Meritorious Service Cross in recognition of the outstanding accomplishments and remarkable contributions they have made through their foundation. In recognition of his work, Mississauga's Clemens has also received the Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee Medal and is a member of the Order of Ontario. He has also been inducted into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame, Ontario Sports Hall of Fame, and Canada's Sports Hall of Fame.
Hey, get a win on 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. I say still, you say head, still, still. I love it.
Michael is a man of true character, an incredibly generous spirit, and a quiet dignity that shines on and off the field. Welcome to Legends Row Pinball.
To present the Legends Row Award to Michael Pinball Clemens, please welcome Mr. Douglas Hancock, President of Heritage Mississauga. Yeah, turn around, guys, yeah. Doug, you should give him the award. Douglas is a lawyer, and it's hard to take anything away from him. Pinball, if I can please invite you to come up and say a few words.
Oh my! Wow! I have to say that I have been spoiled in life. First, I've had all of these beautiful women in my life, and that extends beyond our dance team to my mom, who's my hero. She was a single parent who was relentless. Success was not an option. She gave so much. And then my bride of 30 years. Yes. We've been together 38 years, married for 30 years, and I live to serve her. Yes. Not only that, I'm the father of Rachel, Raven, and Riley. Those are my 3 girls. And now we have our first grandchild. Yes. I want to say thank you so much to the ladies and to Chuck Ely, the stone thrower. Now, if you don't know the story, there is a book called The Stone Thrower, and It's a very compelling story, and I won't do it any justice, so you should read the book. But I want to let you know that you could not have chosen a better person. When I think about him, the man he is, how he grew up, the challenges that he came through so boldly and courageously, and still maintained a level of sensibility that commands compassion. He is a phenomenal man. Or as I like to say, phenomenal. Say it with me. He actually has just recently received an honor that he deserved so long ago. He was recently inducted into the NCAA College Football Hall of Fame. I'm overwhelmed with emotion. I said that I have all these women around me, and the reality is I'm the first one to cry. And they will affirm that, yes. I love life, it's important to me. And as I think about Jim, I have to tell you that I'm so encouraged. When we looked at the blueprint, his foresight, it too, phenomenal. I won't make you do it again, but phenomenal. And my mom herself worked for the city of Dunedin. She knows what it's like to be a public servant. And I'm reminded of a sign on her wall that she had in her office that said, "We the willing, led by the unknowing, are doing the impossible for the ungrateful. In fact, we have done so much with so little for so long, we are now capable of doing anything with nothing." Would you, for me, if you don't mind, just give another resounding round of applause for Jim Tovey? Yes. And I'm getting this real comfortable pose right now, and those who know me know that I can really talk, so I'm not going to do that today because I'm grateful for your presence here today, and I want to make sure that you've got all the energy you need for the next 12,000 honorees. I want to say, in terms of public health, you have done so much for us during this challenging time, and you deserve more than what we can give you. So all we want to do is give you our best, because that's what you deserve. So health is wealth, and if you will now just give a resounding round of applause to our health service. Now, the reason I'm up here probably has something to do with the fact that I ran for more yards than any player in pro football history. I was the first person to run for over 3,000 yards in a single season. I was also the first person to run for 1,000 yards in 3 different categories in the same year. I was the first person of color to win the Grey Cup as a head coach. I was they said something about I was the first person to win the Grey Cup as a player, coach, GM, and executive. But the reality is my greatest strength is I understand how important I'm not. Yeah. When you get past yourself, you can do something decent in the world. I do see my family in the back. Would you sit and acknowledge? Those are my 3 girls. Okay. I want to take personal responsibility. Those who know me already know I'm late. And, well, the difference between the two of us is, well, when they're late, you can see why. They're always dressed to the nines. If I can just speed up here, I want to suggest that fame is desirable, but not critical. I went on to say I understand how important I'm not. What I mean by that is when you look at all the things that I've achieved, I couldn't have done any of them on my own, right? When I look at my size, even though I've grown a little bit, the fact is, every time I touched the ball, 11 other guys were working, and they were working harder than me. They were like moving guys that were 300 pounds, right? All I did was ran. I was just a glorified coward, right? Yes. And as I say that, I want us to understand that nothing great is accomplished by ourselves, right? That it's important to understand that, well, if you think about it, right? We all need each other. Because if you're alone long enough, you go crazy. That's why, that's why the harshest form of punishment in our society is solitary confinement. Because if you're alone long enough, you go crazy. We need each other. Consistent with that, I want to say that if you want to show me a truly great person, don't tell me about records or awards, money or power. If you want to show me a truly great person, show me what that person has done for someone else. Therein lies true greatness. Starting to get that comfortable stance again, so I'm going to act like this. I'm on the way out here, so. Basketball analyst Clark Kellogg suggested that the heart of a champion is not just about what you've won or what you've done. It's an attitude, it's a way of life. It's how you live and what you stand for. It's the foundation for your whole life and existence. Indeed, the heart of a champion is not just something you have, it's something you are. As I close, I'm going to give God the last word today. In Philippians 4:8, it reads, "Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, meditate on these things." Thank you so much.
spoke about everybody else but himself. You know, once you go beyond yourself, you can achieve greatness, and you've given back so much, sirs. Thank you so much. Very well deserved. All right. So you'll see in the program, former mayor and honorary guardian of Trillium Health Partners, Hazel McCallion, was supposed to join us, and she would have loved to be in here, but she's planning her 102nd birthday party. So we have someone who is a little younger, okay, a lot younger. I still want to live in Mississauga. And you know, she has done incredibly well in taking over the role of mayor. Would you please welcome once again Mayor Bonnie Crombie.
Oh, I love Jake. Why do I always have to follow these guys? Wow, they were so awesome. Big shoes to fill again. That was terrific. Thank you. And to Charles, too, for paying tribute to Jim. Wow, this has been such an inspirational morning. I have tears in my eyes, but we have one more really incredible induction to make for an organization that touches us all and we depend on each and every day. So now I have the pleasure of inducting our third recipient, Trillium Health Partners. And I'll just speak about them a little bit. You're going to learn more about them shortly. But here to accept on the organization's behalf is the president and CEO, Carly Farrow. Just give a wave, Carly. We'll see them in a minute. THP's Allied Health Professional of the Year, Abigail Igonu. Abigail. Woohoo. The THP's Physician of the Year, Dr. Pearl Bell. And THP's Nurse of the Year, Mona Attar. And I also see board member Christine McGee. Please give us where she was here. Oh, maybe she had to leave. Our healthcare system has always been the backbone of our community, as it is with every community, right? Providing care for the ill, the sick, the injured, whenever, whatever is needed. And it was never more needed than in the past 2 years during the pandemic, when the world shut down and no one was in lockdown longer than we were, and a novel virus, a novel illness called corona, threatened not only the health of each of us as individuals, but health of our community as well. And 12,000 healthcare workers at Trillium Hospital faced this pandemic head on, with compassion, with courage, with bravery, excellence, beyond any other institution or organization. For over 2.5 years of the pandemic, Trillium cared for more COVID-19 patients than any other hospital in Ontario. Let me say that again, more than any other hospital in Ontario. A feat that speaks to both the severity of the crisis that we faced and skill and effort that they put in responding to it. Mississauga and all of Peel, and frankly, the greater GTHA, all owe you a great debt of thanks. This was unprecedented. It meant generational challenge, one that has left lasting marks on our economy, on our collective mental health, and of course, the course of our history. But it's also exposed the best in us, our community spirit. It has shown us what we can do in unprecedented times and in the depth of unwavering strength and determination that we can all draw on. And it is with great pride that I offer my most sincere congratulations to this recipient, this group of 12,000 recipients, Trillium Health Partners, all of their healthcare workers, everyone at Trillium Health Partners, from the cleaners to the drivers to everyone, the nurses, the doctors, the administrators, the executive, for being the first organization in our city's history to be inducted into Legends Row. And quite frankly, I cannot think of a more deserving organization than Trillium Health Partners for this honor. Warmest congratulations. And now please turn your attention to the screen and roll the video.
Chinese health authorities are still working to identify the virus behind a pneumonia outbreak in the central city of Wuhan.
COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
Stay at home.
Stay home, stay safe.
Quite simply, stay at home.
On this Monday night, Canada's first death from COVID-19.
When the COVID-19 pandemic was first detected in Wuhan, China in December 2019, attempts to contain it there failed, allowing the virus to spread to other areas of China and later worldwide, bringing life across most of the world to a near standstill. World leaders became ill. Entire countries were locked down to prevent the spread of infection, and international travel ceased. As most governments struggled to contain the virus, scientists were rushing to identify and find treatments that would work against the disease. By the summer of 2022, the deadly disease had killed more than 2.5 million people and infected at least 116 million worldwide. Trillium Health Partners is one of the largest community-based hospital systems in Canada, comprised of Credit Valley Hospital, the Mississauga Hospital, and the Queensway Health Centre. Trillium Health Partners is a teaching hospital affiliated with the University of Toronto and is an associate member of the Toronto Academic Health Science Network. At THP, more than 12,000 employees demonstrated courage, compassion, and excellence since the very onset of the pandemic, going above and beyond to care for our community and each other in the toughest, most unexpected of times. THP was one of the hardest hit hospitals in all of Ontario. When community members were asked to stay home, their team members showed up. They raised their hands and left their loved ones safely at home to face the pandemic head on. Over the last year, THP has treated more than 1,500 inpatients, holding their hands, calming their fears, and being their stand-in family when visitors were asked to stay home. They remained flexible and strong when guidelines changed, rallied together to rise to the call of long-term care homes, provided support to all 19 in Mississauga, developed an in-house COVID-19 lab test, set up 3 assessment centers, 1 pandemic response unit, 2 vaccination clinics, and provided more than 304,000 virtual consults to patients who needed care. Every individual at THP played a crucial role in taking on this pandemic, from frontline workers to support staff to their leadership. Close to 1,000 team members had to learn new skills and were redeployed to support the effort. Despite facing the reality that COVID-19 created, the loss of life, separation from family, and the fear of the unknown, the THP team went above and beyond. When family members couldn't be with their loved ones in the hospital, they held their hands and made sure they weren't alone in the toughest of moments. When the call for help was so overwhelming, they rose out of retirement to step back in, deliver vaccinations, became screeners, and delivered swabs. Legends Row proudly salutes the entire THP team who rose to the occasion in our time of greatest need.
If I can please invite our mayor to present the award, the Legends Row, representing the 12,000 staff members of Trillium Health Partners. Please welcome Carly Farrow, President and CEO, Mona Attar, THP Nurse of the Year, Dr. Pearl Bell, THP Physician of the Year, and Abigail Egonu, Allied Health Professional of the Year. Carly, if I can invite you to come up and say a few words.
Thank you so much to come up after Pinball Clemens. It's quite a thing in my career. Let me first start by thanking all of you for the honor on behalf of 12,000 healthcare workers at THP. When you add in our volunteers and our students, we're over 15,000 people strong. A big shout out to the people who are here with us today. You've heard Mona Attar, Abby Egonu. Dr. Pearl Bell is not here because she's on call and her patients needed her. So that's where Pearl is. I want to thank our board chair, Christine McGee, for being here, our chief nurse, Terry Irwin, and so many people who support our hospital day in and day out. It's a real honor to be here today, being acknowledged alongside Jim Tovey and Michael Pinball Clemens. You know, when I was watching the video of Jim and beginning the video talking about the importance of the environment and health, it is so fitting that we are here being honored on the same day. And Michael Pinball Clemens, you know, Pinball came to the hospital a few years before the pandemic, and it was exhilarating. He toured around all the hospital sites, and then he ended with a speech that I can only describe as a spiritual revival. We were hugging and we were crying. It was so meaningful to our teams. You came and spent the day to thank us, and we're forever grateful. What an honor to be here with the family of Jim Tovey and with you, Pinball. So as described in the video, our teams have worked relentlessly to be there for the community during this pandemic. Yes, we are the hospital that carries with us the designation of caring for more COVID-19 patients than any other hospital in the province. To date, that equates to 63,000 patient days caring for people with COVID-19. This made a necessity for our teams to shift and change. We modified how we delivered services. We changed the way we work. People took on new jobs and then changed back to their other jobs. We really focused on how research and innovation could play a role in helping us. You heard about how we used virtual care. We also had our scientists right next to us to understand how is that working in caring for the community. We were so proud to work with our partners in this community to deliver the care that was needed during the pandemic. That included everyone from Peel paramedics to the long-term care sector, as you heard in the video, our colleagues in Peel Public Health, who we were honored to support, particularly in the vaccination effort. Trillium Health Partners was proud to deliver over 500,000 vaccinations to people in our community. So our people took this on. In addition to trying to keep up with surgeries, we run one of the biggest surgical centers in the province. We deliver the most babies. We deliver the equivalent of a small town every year at Trillium Health Partners. Over 8,000 babies are birthed at our hospital, and babies kept coming during the pandemic. And we kept our emergency departments going, and in the face of an unknown and highly communicable disease, our teams bravely came day in and day out to serve. But our teams are driven and inspired to do this because this is why they got into healthcare. But to watch them in the midst of an emergency like this was really something, and it's a privilege of my life to represent the 12,000 people that I'm representing today. You know, one of the favorite things that I think about when I think about the hospital, and I want to leave you with this thought, you in our community, is when you get to the hospital at shift change. You have people coming out of the hospital, they're done their shifts, and they're handing off to the next group. And it feels and looks like the beating heart of a community because everybody is working hard to make sure that everybody's taken care of, that we miss nobody, that the doors never close, and that everyone knows we're here, we're never leaving, we've got you. It's an amazing thing. So when you come at shift change, you actually see all the people that make this happen. But during the pandemic, it was a scary time. It was stressful. It was hard on our teams. More overtime, more sick time, more redeployment into different jobs. And what kept us going, as you knew we had your back, was you, our community. You had our back. You showed up with food donations, with thank you cards, with messages. Early on, there was, nighttime sing-alongs that we would hear about. This kept everybody going. It was something incredibly special. And we are here to represent the 12,000 people, but we see ourselves as a part of this community that will always be here. When you arrive in Canada and you come to live in Mississauga, you get the blue H, and that stands for your community is here for you. And when you're ready to have a baby, your community is here for you. And when you're sick, we are never going to leave your side. And that was a privilege that we all hold. But to be honored for what we've done during the pandemic is very special. If there is any inspiration, as I tried to channel what I would think that our 12,000 strong team would want to share with you, our community, as we feel the honor of what you've given us today, I want to leave you with two thoughts. And it feels very fitting after hearing so much about Jim and to be here with pinball. The first is, please don't forget the power of kindness. It can change the world, and it can get you through any emergency. And then secondly, something that we say at Trillium Health Partners every single day, we are always better together. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to Trillium Health Partners for all you've done and you continue to do. All right, what an incredible afternoon. To the young volunteers, Laura, Matthew, and Angelica, stand up for a second. You are a future legend. What'd you think? You good? All right. It's so important to engage our young people, and it's really great. All right, folks, hope you had a wonderful afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. Very soon, we're going to be cutting a cake to celebrate our 10th anniversary. And to do that, I'm going to invite our mayor. And not yet, just stay here for a second. and the folks who've been a part of our committee from day one to now, and we'll cut the cake. But before we do that, all right, it's time to unveil the plaques for each of today's inductees. Right, and dun da da da. And as Ron unveils them, for those of you who wish to see the actual totem, you can find it by exiting the south doors to where I'm pointing, all right, and then turn right to the end and then left up the stairs. Today's totem will be the first on your right. You can't miss it, and while you're there, you can check out all the other totems as well. All right, there you go. There they are. And I need some help moving this table. Ron, don't just stand there looking pretty. Come and help us. So many bosses. Jamie saying we should get pictures with the totem of the people, but we'll do that in a minute. Cake first. And can I invite those that have been part of this committee, please to come up, and Mayor, if I can invite you as well, please. This cake, by the way, is from one of my favorite bakeries, La Villa Bakery. Johnny always does a great job. I'm giving him a shout out in the hopes that he won't charge us. All right, Doug, if I can please, yes. The committee and the CSE members, please, if you could come up. Mayor, if I can have you as well. So there'll be, and you can't hear him, but our founder just said everybody's invited to a piece of cake, small or large. And I guess we'll cut it. Can we make it available in the back, or do we just do it here? Just do it here? Okay, maybe move it to the side because people want to take pictures, right? Doug, can you help? That'd be great. Yeah, if we can just move it over to the side. Oh. Folks, that is it. Thank you very much for being a part of the induction ceremony and as Ronnie said, lots of great things to come. So stay tuned. Please take photographs. Please check out our wonderful Legends Row as well, and have a wonderful afternoon and a weekend. And I know that we are celebrating the Chinese Lunar New Year tomorrow, the Year of the Rabbit, and a very, very happy New Year to those celebrating. Thank you and God bless.
Strong hard done by you. Some things look better, baby, just passing through.
To the heart, I never kissed a mouth that tastes like yours. Strawberries and something more. Ooh yeah, I want it all. Lipstick on my guitar. Fill up the engine, we can drive real far. Go dancing underneath the stars. Ooh yeah, I want it all. Got me feeling like I wanna be that guy. I wanna kiss your eyes, I wanna drink that smile, I wanna feel like my soul's on fire, I wanna stay up all day and all night, yeah, you got me singing like, ooh, I love it when you do Faith and trust for me, I feel it in our energy. I see it's written in the stars. We can go wherever, so let's do it now or never, baby. Nothing's ever too far. Glitter in the sky, glitter in our eyes, shining just the way we are. I feel like we're forever every time we get together, but whatever, let's get lost on Mars. You want me, I want you, baby. My sugar boo, I'm levitating. The Milky Way, we're renegading. Yeah, 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 yeah. I got you, moonlight. You're my starlight. I need you all night. Come on, dance with me. I'm levitating. You, moonlight. You're my starlight. I need you all night. Come on, dance with me. I'm levitating. You can fly away with me tonight. So you can fly away with me tonight. Baby, let me take you for a ride. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm levitating. You can fly away with me tonight. So you can fly away with me tonight. Baby, let me take you for a ride. Yeah, 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 yeah. My love is like a rocket, watch it blast off. And I'm feeling so electric, dance on our song. And even if I wanted to, I can't stop. Yeah, 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 yeah. My love is like a rocket, watch it blast off. And I'm feeling so electric, dance my ass off. And even if I wanted to, I can't stop. Yeah, 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 yeah. You want me, I want you, baby. My sugar boo, I'm levitating. The Milky Way, we're renegading. I got you, moonlight. You're my starlight. I need you all night. Come on, dance with me.